Steve and Amy up would come in. So. Everybody's watching us, just sit here. And this is recorded and, people can rewatch us just sitting here. So, of course, anyway, when we had met the last time for our budget workshop, oh, there he is. Hi, Steve.
Hi. Sorry. I thought it was at 7 tonight.
Hi. That's okay. You're not alone now, too. So anyway, of course, when we met at our last budget workshop was just the start of some of the changes due to COVID. And at the time, we thought we were still having our vote before our adoption of our budget, which is now not the case. Our budget still has to be adopted for May 1st, and the vote won't take place until sometime in June. So obviously we had to rework and reorder it to take that into account. So if we can if you want to get started going through the information, first page is always the village board. There's no changes to that sign. That's still at $10,000. Justice line still the same as when we met before, with a total of $21,991. The mayor line is the same as when we met before, the 6,170. And the clerk treasurer line is on page 4. And then once we get into a bigger department, after I do the rundown, I'll say each of your names and ask you if you have questions or comments. So that way maybe it'll be a little cleaner for us to go through. Give each one of you a moment.
Sounds good.
So if you're looking at the clerk treasurer budget, you will see at the bottom total department for both the clerk and treasurer is at $78,763, and that is up from last year, mainly due to that little increase that we did for our treasurer, since he was no longer going to be taking the health insurance with us anymore. We had a significant cost savings from that. But we are covering his new health insurance deductible. Any questions in regards to the clerk's budget? We'll start with Trustee Halleck.
Nope, I'm just looking through the numbers right now, and it looks like it's the bottom line. So in the first version we got at our first workshop, it was 75,763. It looks like the bottom line's up 3,000. I'm just trying to see where that 3,000 came from. No real questions about it. I'm just trying to see.
Yeah. $3,000. I'm gonna check back on mine.
55. All right, so it looks like the computer license program line went from 3,000 up to 5,500. That seems to be the big difference. And it looks like they just added in Jimmy's fee or something. So that must be the extra amount.
Yeah, it's the services they put in that one.
Very cool. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome. Steve Robertson, do you have a question in regards to the clerk's budget?
Nope, I'm good.
Trustee Snyder?
I'm good.
I'll move along. The next page, assessor, that's the same. That's at 13,663.
Carmen, I'm really sorry. Can we go back? Can we go back to the last page? Just one last question I have that I just noticed.
The clerk's budget?
Yes, ma'am. So, oh, sorry. Let me just scroll back down to that real quick. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Let's,
there's some major lag tonight. I see your lips move and then talk a little bit after.
all right. So I am looking at the office supplies line. The very last line before the total. We've only spent about $450 to date. And we're thinking we're going to increase that budget by $500 over what we had last year. Just point that out. Do we think that's do we think that's a prudent move?
Yeah, I don't think that year to date is accurate.
Okay.
Remember, a lot of these totals are from late February, early March.
Right.
Because if you look over to the complete year for 2018-19, we spent $1,600 for that full year.
Gotcha.
So that's probably why, they put in. And if we need to shave some off, to make things work, we can do that. But
just curious. That's all.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. All right. So assessor is good. Attorney to the attorney. That's still at 14,500. Elections is the same if we ever get to have our elections.
Oh, you bet.
Can I ask a question about that one? So
Which one?
The elections. So that's just
Yes.
a flat fee for the people that work the election, right? And we had a motion.
Yes, that's for our polling inspector.
Sorry, the lag. And we
You're cut, Alex.
We had a resolution choosing not to do a voter registration. And if we did that next time, would there be a cost associated with that? This is just for planning for the next cycle.
Right. We do not offer registration ourselves. It's all through the county. So when they register to vote through the county, they automatically are on our lists in the village if they are a village resident. So the additional thing would be having our clerk or someone having a position that would register people, then track the information, and then get that information to county. So the village did away with that many years ago because it's just cleaner that anybody who registered through county across the board, all information, because you can register to vote the DMV instead of our own individual village registration, because registering just with the village did not mean you were automatically a New York State registered voter. So I think that's why they did away with that.
And that's why we had to pass a resolution recently, 2 or 3 months ago.
But we have that every year. They adopt that procedure every year. So every time that we've done in January, we always adopt that. Okay. It's one of those annual ones that we have to do.
Okay. And I agree. It sounds much clearer if you let people register to vote, but it would only be for the village. That seems problematic. Just curious.
Right. Welcome. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Did you hear us?
7 o'clock.
I'm in the same boat, Amy.
Oh, okay, good.
That's
And then
all right.
you help me with the logging on too, so. Where are we?
Right now, Amy, we just on page 7 for the elections.
Okay. All right.
Amy, if you look over into the private chat section, Jim gave us a link to a Google Doc, and that's the latest version. So
Okay,
yeah, try to pull that guy up.
that's nothing there right now. Maybe Jim will send it to me again.
Oh, you don't see that under the private chat section there?
No,
No? Okay.
I'm going to ask him to send it to me.
Yeah. Good idea. But yeah, Carmen, we were on
All right,
going on to
so
building and grounds.
We're on page
Okay.
8.
Okay.
So building and grounds is the same as our last meeting at 19,180. And then if we go on to page 9.
Oh, actually, hold on. The 19,180 is for the youth center, right? And the 21,750 is for buildings and grounds, or 20,750. 20,750 is building and grounds.
Yes.
Okay.
Which has all the electric.
Okay, yeah, I'm good to go. That looked like that
yeah,
number went up a
we'll just
little bit. But it makes sense.
From the last time? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the building and grounds
All
on
right.
the first version, it was 19,000 was the total. This went up about 1,750. So, but I see where the lines are, why it increased.
Let
Makes
me
sense.
check it. Okay. All right, on page 9, which is administrative benefit page.
No, you did. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. That number dropped a little bit, huh?
That number dropped a little bit because if you'll notice the debt service on bond.
Yep.
Because when we formulated the budget, we were formulating the amount for the fire. So that is no longer debt service bond, but you'll see shortly where the debt service for Ackley is now going to be in the budget.
Okay.
So any other questions for the administrative benefits page?
So I can't open this document. So the debt service on bond, that just went away, the 260,000. How did we do that?
Well, debt
number?
service on bond.
What number would that be?
Yeah, so
that's taking out the firehouse payment.
Right. What number should it?
That's the firehouse payment.
Right. What number should it be?
I'm sorry?
What number? I can't open the document, so I'm looking at my old spreadsheet. What number should it be?
Okay. Debt service on bond will now be 40,757.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On to the next page.
Okay.
Yep.
Contingency.
Contingency is still the same. And police. So we're on page 11.
Okay,
Amy, I just emailed you a link to the document.
So,
That's easier.
okay, thank you.
so on the police change, you'll notice there will be a change from our last meeting by 20,000. So with everything going on with code and the way the civil service exams are and the list of eligible officers that we have to choose from for position, Sergeant Danko and Dr. Greenwich instead of budgeting the year for the whole year for a new third person, Greenwich wants to do from January on. That way, obviously right now, due to COVID, guys, it's a poor time to be hiring someone.
Right.
So what Greenwich is doing is they're budgeting from January on for the additional person to be split between the two of us. And so this budget is the same. Also, at that time, the new civil service list will be out in October with a list of eligible officers that we can choose from for this position. So if you notice,
We're basically pushing it to the end of the budget. We're basically pushing
we're
it.
doing a half year. So I think
Okay,
we're doing a year as opposed to a whole year. So the whole year cost us 30,000 and change
okay,
to be split between Greenwich. But now, since we're just doing it from January on, it's a total of $20,000,
okay.
and Greenwich will give us half of that 20. So we'll spend 10,000, but our budget has to reflect the full 20. So on the sheet, so you'll see right below full-timer number 2 is the additional full-timer at 20,000. And then the part-time was decreased down to 50.
Okay.
Nice. And that extra officer, as we talked about, is to deal with the discovery rules issues that came with the bail reform law.
Not
Well,
only that.
They can, but it's mostly going to be for patrol since Sergeant Danko is now pretty much chained to the office.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
So the total police budget,
Sorry, Carmen, go ahead.
he has to sign off. He has to sign off on everything regardless of us having someone else specifically do the paperwork. As the overseeing officer, he still has to look over it all.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the total police budget would be 253,770. So it's 1,000 up from last year for the part-timer.
And the gas,
Or for the new full-timer.
we talked about this, that it was more expensive than we expected, but we think it's going to go back. Can you just, I know we talked about it, but it's probably.
Yes. Well, actually, so after our meeting we had, where Sergeant Danko had brought it up that, we seem to be spending more than we did last year for fuel. I had Lance pull our records for what we're paying per gallon through WEX, and then also what we were doing through last year through county, and it appears that we're not getting the state contract. So Les is doing some investigation because we should be paying the state contract price, not just getting the tax-free fuel.
That's great. Any chance we can get reimbursed?
That's what we've got to turn to see, okay, if you guys should have been us the state contract price all this past year, what would it be because of that?
Nice.
That'd be great, because we probably should be around 10,000 or so.
Well, that's what the request is.
Well, the request is
Well, in 2018, 19,
It was 8,000.
in 2018, 19, oh my God. In 2018, 19, we spent $15,120 on fuel. That's a full year. Year to date, we're at 16,330 and the year's not over yet.
but we expected it to be around 12.5, so it should be like 3/4 of that, or should have been, right?
Well, it depends on what the state contract price comes in at. Every year, I mean, when you're budgeting for items like that, you're just basically, you're guesstimating as to what it could cost.
Yeah.
Some years it's lower, some years it's more. Yeah.
These numbers are
But
through
last year at budget time, 12.5.
Sorry, Carmen, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, no,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
the delay. I'm just wondering, because you sort of said it, are these numbers are through the end of February or through the end of March?
I think they're with a few of March, not all, because it depends on when we got the bill.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we have all of March's fuel bills yet. So yeah, so the police department budget would be 253,770 this year. All right, are we ready to move on to FD?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so here's where the change from our last meeting comes into play. So you will notice under the very first section, you'll see the miscellaneous underneath the equipment, .2 section. That has $137,130. That's where Les put the $107,000 from Ackley, and then also the additional one-shot monies we had budgeted, which was like the salt barn. Those were the items that we were using to offset the firehouse payment or go toward the firehouse payment.
And he has it as building repair.
So we're going to, right, well, it chops off. So it'll either be building repairs or yes, folks, we can place directly toward the firehouse and only bond 3.6 instead of 3.7.
Right.
Yeah, and so it depends on the vote. So if the public votes yes, we already will have this money to put toward knocking down that 3.7 right out the gate.
Did something happen on that insurance line? I see it's highlighted, the $940 number. Sorry, Amy, I don't know if you have the version up, so I hate that you can't see it, but.
Actually, I can see it.
Oh, okay, great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so you see that line for insurance, $940.75.
Yes.
It looks like that number was over 13,000 in our first version.
Insurance.
In our first version, yes, it was 13,534.
Yeah.
That was a year to date.
Yeah, those are the year to date. Les must have been playing with it and hit something because that's why
Okay.
it's highlighted too.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Okay, okay.
Yeah, we definitely spent more than $940.
Yeah, yeah, I figured as much considering what it said in
Yeah.
the first version. Okay,
Yeah, it looks like he must have been working on it and something and clicked, because it's highlighted on mine too, so usually they're not highlighted. Yeah.
It doesn't look
So
like anything spent for travel. Is that right?
there's just no year to date in the travel yet. Sometimes if our officers have to travel for certain trainings, then there's a travel reimbursement for that.
Okay.
Sometimes there's not, some years there are.
Got it. Thank
It
you.
just depends on the training.
so I have
So that-
maybe, this might be a stupid question, just because I'm ignorant to it, but I noticed that we have a line for physicals. Are those special physicals, or could the firefighters just go to their regular doctor and get the physical and have their insurance pay for it instead of the village?
No,
No,
the village, the village
those are
pays for it, but
actual-
not historically. The vil-
I'm sorry,
because
Steve.
a lot of insurance companies carry a copay,
Okay,
so that's why it just makes it easier if the village does the physicals, and they are specific to firefighters in the fact that any of them that are interior, they have to be certified to wear an air pack, and that's
Gotcha.
part of the physical.
gotcha. I figured as much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah. Yeah, they actually have someone that comes out and does the physicals for them.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, Tom was explaining to me there's a whole process, and he makes the arrangements yearly, different. He kind of makes the arrangements each year.
Gotcha. All right.
All right, so yeah, so with that would have the fire department budget up to 268,346. 131,216 would be the actual operating budget.
And Carmen, do we actually know how far that $137 would actually get stretched if we had to use it on our current building? I mean, we haven't even had any.
137,000?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even had any assessments done on the building yet. We don't really know what's wrong with it, right?
Right. We just have just a basic idea from the engineer. It's totally, it
Gotcha.
could be 10, it could be 15, it could be 20. We don't really know.
Gotcha.
Plus, that's not addressing the other door and some of the other
Oh, sure.
issues that are happening.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Also, too, some of that money can be used to that, if there's extra. But I really think the best bet is for the yes vote to come in, and then there's this 137,000 to take right off the top of that 3.7.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, are we ready to move on to the next page?
Can I ask one more? If the vote passes and we move ahead with it, when would construction be able to start?
Well, the initial plan was construction would start in the fall. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're going to be a few months behind now. So initially, I think it was with the intent of starting in September. We're probably looking at November, December now.
They'd be able to start this year, like this calendar year?
Well, we will have to find out when we put it out to bid. It's all going to be on the contractor who puts the bids in schedule. So we won't know that till it goes to bid.
There's going to be such a backlog with getting our economy back up, and the building has been shut down. So
Yeah.
when people have schedules, they're going to have to go back to their schedule.
And when we do the contracting, especially given the economic situation right now, is it possible to give any preference, all other things being equal, to local contractors or local businesses?
Isn't this Steve and Carmen know about this? This is all mandated.
We put it out to bid in any local or abroad contractors can bid on it. I'm not sure of your question. Could you repeat your question?
I guess it's just if we can factor that in the decision and who we award the contract to. If that can be part of our assessment. If the business is local.
That it's
Well,
a local person or an out-of-town person?
Like a local contractor or a local business.
and I think Alex is saying in the
Well, it's
broad
gonna come
metrics,
down-
in the broad metrics
Right.
of things that we use to pick the contractor, can one of those things be, if they're a local contractor, they get a little extra point when we figure out who the end contractor is going to be? I think that's where she was going.
I mean, you can take that into consideration, but we can't make that like a reason that we're going to spend double what we would from someone
Right.
outside. That's not a good idea. Yeah. But we can definitely take that into account.
Okay.
You know, here's someone who's local, they put in a good fair price. We like their price, you know, because honestly it's going to come down to the value for what we're getting for the price. And we're not bound to pick the lowest bidder. We are in the village's policy is we can pick based on quality and value. We are not bound to pick the lowest. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
And wasn't there, back to the fire department budget, wasn't there one, what is it, the air packs that are that we'll need to replace a bunch of, and they're in here, is that right? Or is there something new?
No, the air packs are not. The air packs are not in this budget because we're waiting to get the feedback. The fire department applied for some grants for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if they don't get those grants, we'll have to find it somewhere else.
Well, that's where we can see what, you know, fund balance is often used. That's what we did last year. We used fund balance for the radios. We used fund balance for the pagers and stuff like that. That's where fund balance comes in handy because then you can pick, you know, hey, we know we need these items. Let's use fund balance for this.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, page 13, dog control stays the same. We haven't really had to use it since the great dog problem of 2014. So DPW is page 14. So there are some minor less changed. The request amount for the catch basin, it was not $18,000. So that's down to 8. So if you see the total toward the bottom is 208,300 for the DPW. Last year we were at 203.
So I see, I'm looking at the old one that we just had and then the new one.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference is the catch basins. That's right.
You got it.
Yes, the catch basins. So that's the only change to that page.
Okay.
Do you think we need $1,500 for signs and posts, considering we've only spent $60 so far this year? It's not a lot. That's kind of a sarcastic question more than anything.
Yeah.
That's low.
Yeah, I mean, some years there's more, some years there's not. Oftentimes, most of the signs that need to be replaced are after the winter plowing season, when our DPW have taken out some of the signs that need to go up around the village.
Gotcha.
But we didn't have much snow this year. I mean, if it comes to making cuts, that's an area we can look at. If you want to, it's always been at 1,500.
What's
So, but we can come back to that.
what's that line? CHIPS projects? Is that state funded projects?
Yes, that's the one we get the reimbursement for.
Okay. Okay. We'll talk. I was probably going to wait until the revenue page to bring it up, but since we're talking about direct state revenue now, I mean, this is what I was talking about at our meeting, a few days ago, that I'm really concerned about what happens if the state's revenues fall through the floor and that trickles down to us and they can't pay for projects like this anymore. They can't give us they can't give us much money to the counties, which means the counties can't help us make up our property tax loss, things like that. And that was my main concern. And that's what I was talking about. But there's no way to predict for that right now.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, so far, I don't believe they've changed the CHIPS amount. I know Les had gotten a notice from the state for the number that it would be this year. They haven't adjusted that or sent us anything stating that it would be different.
Right.
But if that's the case, we just do not do those CHIPS projects.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Do items that they reimburse us for. We just wouldn't do them this year.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we're keeping the line
definitely.
flat.
There's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Yes, absolutely.
We're keeping the budget line flat for street lights for now.
Yeah, we'll get to the end. I know. Everybody wants to see what it's going to be, but yes, we'll get to the end, and I mean, I'm sure you've already looked at it, but yes, that's where it's at. It's flat. There's no increase in the tax rate when we get to the back here. So, all right, we'll keep going. Page 15. That's unchanged. That's Parks and Rec. Maddie had mentioned he's going to need to get some new the wood chips for the playground. That would come from here. Historian is the same as the last time we met at 3,761. Page 17 of zoning, that is also still the same at $3,600. We've only spent year to date 696, but that's because I've been zoning enforcement officer since like August. So
Yeah.
which we'll get back up there now.
And you called, I assume you called Bill?
Yes, I actually had Lance email Bill and the other candidate prior to our board meeting because I didn't want them to hear the news at the meeting.
Oh, great.
Or watching the meeting. So, which the other candidate that we interviewed, Eleanor, she was great as well. Loved her. And since Bill has to resign from the Zoning Board of Appeals because he can't hold both positions, I had Lance ask Eleanor if she'd like to be on the ZBA, and she agreed that she would. So she's going to be probably at our next. Yeah, at our next board meeting, we'll appoint her to the ZBA.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Planning board, page 18 is still $3,242. Insurance, page 19. There will be a little increase this year over last year with some of the numbers that we're getting, but not over the 65,000 that we're budgeting. And then youth department, right now, everything is up in the air in regards to being able to hold summer camp or any of the services due to COVID. So we're kind of in a holding pattern. I believe Lindsay was going to send out the summer camp registration forms like we usually do in April. But we're asking that no one send payment in yet till we know for certain that summer camp can happen. So if it's a playing it by ear and seeing how the rest of the next 2 months go.
How I'm trying to see, how do we get from that 85,551 down to the 61,457? It looks like all the numbers going into those two numbers are the same. Am I totally missing something?
Oh, that was something I found. Actually, that was an error. When Les did it, he was adding the total personnel at the top, 24,094. Then he was adding the 29,594 and then the 31.
Gotcha.
Instead of realizing, yeah. So when I went through it before, I was like, that's not right. Why is there so much?
Good.
Because we were like, yeah, we were at 80,000 with the youth center in this budget. So I was like, how is this possible to still be spending this much? So it's not. So you'll see the corrected preliminary side. It would be the 61,457. And year to date for the youth department for summer camp and after school, from our last board meetings packet, we have spent 48,290. So so I think even with these few months of after school, we would not have come close to 60 again, or possibly. So that'll obviously be lower.
Gotcha. Carmen, can you please repeat that year-to-date number one more time?
Sure. This would be in your board packet from Wednesday. It would be
okay.
the operating statement. It's in the operating statement. It's $48,292.14.
Great. Okay. Nice. Just what it is. Great.
All right, library, that's all still pretty much the same. We do not do any changes to the library because that's all given to us from the library board. In my conversations with some of the library members, I did, bring to their attention that now their elections that were supposed to happen in May with the school, those are postponed as well. So just finances until they do get the money, because we usually don't get the money from the school till like September or so on a normal year. Now we're probably looking at October or November for that to happen. So they're going to be watching that and watching. Of course, right now, they're closed. Page 23 is the capital expenditures. That's unchanged from our last meeting. That's still the amounts for the reserves. Page 24 is our statement of debt. So you'll notice that is right down there because we initially had the firehouse in there. So that would be our total amount for principal is $40,756.59, with interest of $502. We do have 2 loans that will be paid off in December too, the smaller ones. The snow tractor and the DPW truck.
Great.
Yeah.
So the 40,000, I'm assuming that does not include the firehouse, but it looks like the 3.7 is on this. How, can you explain that? Is that included in the 40,000 or no?
No, if you look at he just left the section where he had it so we could see the cost amount and the interest rate.
But it's not.
If you look at the principal, if you look at the principal at 0, he'll obviously take that out for the actual approved budget. It's actually, I don't think it's on the worksheet, but it's not on the actual summary sheets.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So on to the revenue. That's page 25. Les did put in the increase for the 10,000 for the police contract, for the additional persons on there. We'll also, once we hire a person, then we'll be reimbursed for health insurance and liability insurance as well.
I see he put the increase in for the fire protection other government line too. That's good.
He did. That was some of my notes that I brought back from our last meeting.
Great.
On there that you had requested. So he did put that in there too. It shows a more accurate picture when you can see it.
Absolutely. So
if we go to the summary.
Oh, actually, if we could stick with the revenue sheet real quick, Carmen. So what are the unpredictable lines right now as far as state aid goes? It would be that state aid ships line, the 70,000. That's for construction capital projects, right? Or is
that would be the projects. That would be paving projects or sidewalk projects that are the state's responsibility that they reimburse us for doing.
Gotcha.
And snow removal also.
Gotcha.
Snow removal if we remove snow. Yeah.
There's a state aid mortgage tax. Do you know what that line is?
Yes. Which one are you looking at here?
Just above the state aid chips line. 3,000 line 3005 state aid mortgage tax.
Oh, the 10,000 one. That's our AIM funding.
Okay, that's AIM. Okay, great. And state per capita aid. What is that? It's 11,750.
Oh wait, that's our AIM.
Okay.
The mortgage tax. That's the portion we get from people paying their mortgages. When there's a new mortgage that someone takes out in the area, everybody gets a cut of that.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Okay.
But I mean, it does come from the state, so depending on how things go, I know there'd be a lot of pushback if they took away the regular revenue they do send us, but it's a possibility.
Yes. Yeah. If they took AIM funding away from municipalities, that would be a big deal. But the governor has a lot of leeway right now when it comes to the aid to localities bill. Who knows what's going to happen? But so those are the lines to keep an eye on. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'd be looking at 70, 80, 91,000 is what we get for those 3 lines right there. Right. So like I said before, if it looks like we're not going to get those funding, we just don't do those projects.
Sure.
91,000, while that stinks to lose that revenue, it's not necessarily the bulk of our finances.
Right. For sure. Cool.
I'm a little bit concerned with, homeowners' ability to be able to pay their taxes on time this year.
Yes,
I hope
absolutely.
that there's some sort of program that would come into play that would help them, short-term loans or something like that they offer so people could pay their taxes on time. and then, reimburse that type of program however they work at. Because a lot of people are not working right now. So
Yeah, I'm actually surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the state hasn't said villages can push their budgets back from the June 1st deadline. I'm surprised they haven't given us a few more months on that.
well, I'm actually very glad, because what do we pay bills with if we don't stick to the
Fair point.
schedule?
Fair point. Good point.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right.
Even if maybe not everybody can pay, at least
Right.
some might be able to, and we have some funding coming in.
Sure.
But that also goes back to having that cushion of a fund balance that can carry us through, should funding not come in June like we normally get.
Yeah, for sure.
So you'll see the summary pages follow. So our total appropriations would be the same as last year, $1,365,000. Or no, I'm sorry, $1,365,644. I notice on the new sheet, the year date, or the year last year is wrong. I brought that to Les's attention, and he's going to go through and find out, because it's showing we only budgeted $1,361,000 last year. We didn't. It was 1,365. So we would be staying the same for our appropriations. So if you go to the very last, not the requested page, that's based off just partial request, because we don't have, Les didn't have all the stuff on that. If you go to the summary page, the very end, we would be spending $1,365,644 as last year. And the total rate per thousand would stay the same. There would be no increase in this year's tax rate. We would be at 0. Now the levy did go up. So if you notice, last year's levy was 948. This year is 968. That is because of the fund balance line. Last year in our budget, we used 56,000 of fund balance. This year we're only allotting 17,700. And the bulk of that was because of the pagers, or the radios.
Radio.
Right.
So yeah, so that would, it's good, this year to have, maybe this works out for the best. We'll have a zero increase this year, and the public votes yes to the firehouse, and then we have that 137,000 put toward that 3.7 million right off the bat, and then our loan starts next year with the increase.
Nice. Now we have to see if the state will even let us have the election at the end of May. I wonder what happens then if the election gets moved.
It's in June. We haven't gotten the date yet.
Yeah, it's sounding like it's going to be mid to late June.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, I know you mentioned a couple areas that we could reduce, but at this point, if we have no increase, it kind of seems, we're not under a crunch necessarily to cut out some stuff.
Right.
We're keeping everything flat and spending the same.
If I wasn't so worried about the economy, I would wonder about trying to ease into the increase that will happen with the firehouse. But given the outlook of everything right now, I think keeping this flat is good.
Yeah.
And we don't know the outcome of the vote.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know where people's heads will be. I think, first responders have a lot of respect, and first responders, they're the ones that they're out there. But I don't know where people's heads will be.
Right.
Yes, it's so much has changed in such a short amount of time.
Right.
You know, and it, like I said, could be, you know, a blessing. Would borrow, you know, 3.6 instead of 3.7. Next year, we know our, you know, assessed value will be different. We could end up with a better rate of increase than we would have this year. We could end up down at 50 cents a thousand as opposed to the 75. The interest rates could go down too. And now we're, you know, getting a better interest rate on the loan itself. So I'm trying to look for the blessings
That's right.
in 5 years worth of work that was, you know, kind of yanked away in a moment.
That's right.
So, you know, there's reasons for everything. It doesn't change the fact that the village needs a new firehouse.
No.
That's always going to be until we address it. So it's going to be up to the public.
Can I ask one other question, Carmen?
Sure.
Earlier, and I think that it was lost in translation. Under DPW, streetlights.
Sure.
DPW. I don't have numbers on mine.
Nope, that's okay.
We're keeping that line flat. Is that just the electricity for the streetlights? Because we don't own them, right?
Right, that would be the electricity.
Okay. And if we hear back from RPI about anything that's malfunctioning with them, then that would be on National Grid to fix, or we would deal with it when we get the recommendation?
No, it would be National Grid.
It's all on National Grid to fix that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And RPI, I'm sure they're just slower than as everything is right now. Is there any? Have we?
I think the energy.
Are we
the
talking
energy is going toward
about the budget? Are we talking about the budget, or are we going off topic and talking about something else? Do you the price of the electricity?
No,
the price of the electricity. Huh?
It's not about the electricity, no. But I was wondering if that might impact the line, but I think you answered that question.
Okay. I'm hoping our energy consumption goes down. I don't want to. It's supposed to, because that's what LEDs are supposed to do.
Right.
But I don't know if that'll necessarily affect the price we pay, because the rates for electricity go up in the winter. They charge you one thing. Our energy consumption, we can definitely track if we've consumed less energy during those times, which is the goal.
Okay.
In regards to RPNI and all that, every organization is at a standstill right now because of COVID-19. No one is able to work on anything at this moment.
That's
yeah.
understandable. Thank you for staying on it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
You're welcome. And, you know, I'm sure you asked the question in regards to some emails we've been receiving, and I am trying to get caught up on emailing everyone back. I am way behind in responding to anything other than COVID-related items right now. This month has pretty much been consumed by that. Everything else is it's been to navigate all the changes that have come down for us and the basic running of government at this moment. All of the other items are not being worked on. But for those of you watching, if you send me an email and I haven't responded to you, I will eventually. It's been very overwhelming, the amount of information I've had to go through in the last 3 weeks. So what do you guys think? Do you want, is this the budget that you guys want to put to the public hearing for the public?
If you're going to go around, yeah, I'm fine with it. The numbers make sense to me. I'm comfortable with it. I think people will be happy with a flat budget or no increase. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm also good with it. I think in the today's time with what's going on right now, I think putting out a flat budget this year is going to be much appreciated by many of our residents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate the way that it's just there's so much uncertainty right now, and I think this is dealing with it the best way we can. So,
Yeah.
no concerns from me.
Yeah, I have no concerns either.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you all. I'll have Lance put out notice for the public hearing, that we can have it in the next couple weeks. If there's days or evenings that you prefer, please let Lance know so we don't schedule it for the dates that don't work for you.
I don't know.
It's going to be
about
the
you
same
guys.
thing. Just like
I don't know about you guys.
It's-
My calendar is kind of full, kind of free.
Yeah, a little bit.
a little bit. That's why I was worried when I didn't see you. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to send her a message.
Thank you. I'm glad you did. Thank you.
So the public hearing will work just like this again, except you'll see the live comment section on the right. So you see the private chat bar and then the live comments. That live comments will be open for anybody who's viewing the meeting. They can type their comments in right there and it will pop up to us. And that's where they can ask questions or make their comment on the budget itself. And then I'll read those comments off so that way the rest of the viewers know what the questions were and then we can answer them.
Are people required to sign their comments, or is there to use their real name when they comment as they would when they were in person?
I believe it uses whatever name you typed in. So like for instance, I'm trying to look at some.
Yeah, like you have Mayor Bogle down, right?
Right, mine says Mayor Bogle. Your
Right.
guys's say what you put in.
Sure.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's tied to their email when they do like get in or anything like that. Obviously, I would encourage people to use their real names, since if we actually had a public hearing, they would be standing in front of us using their real name. So it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't want to, use their real name. But historically, we have no one typically show up for our meetings. Like last year, our public hearing was held in conjunction with our April meeting because no one showed up, and we have to sit around for an hour for that. So.
Okay.
So do you think we'll schedule the budget hearing for our May meeting then? Two birds with one stone.
No, we'll have our public hearing in a few weeks, and then we need to get back together before May 1st and adopt the budget. So we'll have a special meeting, budget adoption meeting.
That's right. I'm sorry. The May 1st is our deadline for the budget.
No, that's okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and two, I mean, this system transcribes everything, because that's part of the requirement, is that there's a transcription of our public meetings. So, if there's a member of the public, I mean, why wouldn't they want to use their real name like that?
Yeah. No.
No, I would. Anything we can do to encourage them, I think, would be great. I would imagine most people would. I'm just, thinking of things could break.
SpongeBob SquarePants has a comment,
Exactly.
Mayor Bogle has a comment.
And two, I mean, that's part of the hardness of doing online too, and that's why we prefer real names, because anybody can watch this from anywhere.
Right.
Someone who doesn't have to be a villager could be watching this very meeting at the moment. It kind of would be good to know if someone from the village or someone from, Africa was making a comment. So, yeah, if there's no further questions or comments, we can go ahead and end the meeting, and I'll have, Lance reach out to you guys on best dates and times for the public hearing.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And everyone stay
All
well.
right, stay safe. Yeah, stay healthy, stay safe.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
night.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Stop.